Nod.
All right, and we'll get started on Facebook. Episode 15.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Oops. There we go. And we are going live.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to a new view on travel, episode 15. Happy Friday. Happy Thanksgiving weekend. I'm glad that you guys were able to find some time to join us today because we've got some cool stuff to talk about today. And especially the most exciting part is Christine's personal experience because she just got back from Mexico. So it'll be neat to hear all the details and how smoothly it ran, I hope. We have some breaking news. According to what we read this morning, the US is getting ready and set to reopen the border in November. I don't believe there's been a set date yet, but it is coming. So that is very exciting, finally, after all these months. Vaccination requirements are going to come into effect by October 30th. Anybody over 12 years old must have their full double-dosed vaccination to fly domestically, transborder, international, planes, trains, and automobiles, cruise ships, anything over 24 hours, everything. You must be vaccinated. So if you're not and you want to travel, even to fly out west or out east or come south, you will have to have that vaccination passport.
Oh, and I wanted to point out that just because here in BC, we are so dependent, especially people who live on Vancouver Island, so dependent on BC ferries, that we did confirm that that is something that would be excluded from this because it's considered essential travel.
Right.
So it's just your leisure cruises, as you say, over 24 hours.
Yeah.
BC ferries, you're still good to go.
Good stuff.
But get your shot.
Yeah.
Get your shot.
And I do believe in the next few weeks, they will have an app, a passport app for traveling. They're working on it right now and they hope to be rolling that out within the next few weeks. So
Cool.
The UK has slashed its red list for further easing of international travel to 47 countries, lifting their hotel quarantine restrictions. So that's also a good thing. I just had people come back from Amsterdam. They needed nothing to get in, nothing at all, just be vaccinated.
Nice.
Germany, I think Germany is the same way. And a lot of these European companies are finally, countries are finally starting to let us travel if we're fully vaccinated. So that's nice to see that you don't have to quarantine in any of those places. There's been some misbehavior on some airlines out there lately, which is a little bit weird. I don't know why all of a sudden, but United, is it United Airlines, I think, or US Airlines?
US.
They're considering a national no fly list. So you won't be able to fly anywhere if you are in trouble on one of those flights. And they're trying to combat air rage. This is now a thing. Air rage is a thing. As what else can we expect?
Yes.
Canada is resuming nonstop flights to India. Flair will have direct nonstop flights from Toronto to Palm Springs starting December 15th. Swoop is doing nonstop direct flights twice a week from Toronto to Punta Cana, December 5th. And Australia is continuing to block all international travel coming in until after 2022. There has been no
Wow.
set date for them to reopen for international travelers coming in.
Jeez.
I know New Zealand is working on something right now, like a phased system. I just read that this morning. I didn't put it in here because I didn't fully quite get it all yet, but and Chile has updated their entry requirements for foreign travelers beginning November 1st. Travelers who are fully vaccinated can validate their vaccination status prior to traveling, as well as take a COVID test, negative PCR test in Chile, and get your negative results. And then you can travel throughout the country without any quarantining. So
Nice.
that's all the news that I have, really. What's new in the South, Tammy?
Oh, okay. Well, Disney World started October 1st for their 50th anniversary celebration. We've got the Wyndham and the Playa resorts have now launched a new all-inclusive resort brand called the Wyndham Ultra. Two of the hotels in Cancun and Playa del Carmen, which were the Panama Jacks, are going to be the first to switch over to that. So we'll be giving you some more updates once we have more, once that's been kind of switched over, but that's in the works right now. Big news, Mexico. I should have started with this because it is huge news and you've heard it here first apparently, but Mexico looks like it's going to be opening up. They've just hit their green level, which now means that they're going to now start to open up in kind of two phases of the green, which is going to be kind of 80% right now for hotels and restaurants and whatnot. So we're looking at, from what we can see on the map, it's going to be the Cabo area, Puerto Vallarta area, and pretty much all of Quintana Roo area, which is Cancun Riviera Maya. So that's really some excellent news to hear that they're opening up. They've hit the green level, and that's just another good step to get into 100% occupancy.
Yes, that's good.
We've also have the Blue Diamond Resorts announced the official reopening of the Royalton Chic in Punta Cana on November 1st. Also Royalton Granada just opened up October 1st. We also have Sunwing Travel Group has announced that effective October 5th, last week, or earlier this week, that 20 of their Blue Diamond Resort properties have now been fully integrated into Marriott International prestigious autograph collection. So there's a lot of companies that are
Starting to
start to work together and kind of,
Right.
yeah. So it's just a lot of just new news,
Yeah.
with all these resorts and these suppliers. We've also, we're still seeing some of our suppliers in our resorts are offering some great booking incentives, change of plans for no cost, complimentary COVID, medical coverage, low PCR testing. So yeah, still now is a good time to start looking into
Yeah,
booking
they
your
keep
winter.
extending that. I
They-
keep thinking it's over, and then I look and it's still on. So yeah, the deals, I mean, the prices are certainly still quite a bit higher than what we thought they were going to be, but it's nice to
Right.
have some of these incentives to help out.
Exactly.
get
And
these-
with some of our Mexico destinations now, with the possibility of occupancy opening up, because right now you can't find a lot of occupancy. So now with going from, I think, 65% that they're at right now to 80, definitely is going to open up some more occupancy.
That'll open up some space. Yeah.
yeah,
Might see
for
some more
sure.
flights going too. Yeah. That's good.
What else do we have here? Panama is going to vax passengers. So if you want to go to Panama, you can get your vaccination as well. AC is now going to be flying to Antigua and Barbuda,
Yep.
but I don't have a date on that. Sharon, did you remember?
I want to say it was November 15th.
Okay, sometime in
Yeah,
November, and that's from
got it, yeah.
Toronto.
Mhm.
And I think that is all the news I have for our southern our destinations.
Awesome. Well, as I said, this lucky little girl in the bottom screen here just had a nice, lovely little trip to Mexico. So why don't you, Christine, share your personal experience through your travels?
It was amazing. I mean, it really was. I'll be honest with you guys, I was apprehensive before going on the trip. I didn't really know what to expect. You spend all this money, you're going to go through the hassle of flying, connecting flights. I mean, we all hate those. And, wearing the mask in the airport and not really knowing like what's allowed, what's not allowed, all of that kind of stuff. And I thought, what's it going to be like when we get there? Is it going to be just so restrictive that it feels like, oh gosh, I would have just been rather be in my house where I don't have to wear a mask and I can relax and, I know what the deal is. And also, was I going to be worried about other people like getting in my space and all this kind of stuff?
Yeah.
And you know what? My concerns were alleviated within probably a couple hours of getting there. On the plane, I thought, it'd be the big, like stretched out lineup where everybody would be, 5 feet apart from the next person. Now is line up like usual, like pre-COVID times.
Wow.
Walked through the Vancouver airport, and now this was a red-eye flight to Toronto. Thought that there would be very few people. It was super quick to get through security. Thought that there would be very few people at the gates, which there were. I mean, it was literally a ghost town.
Mm-hmm.
Well, then we reached our destination, which was the only bar that was going to be open to within a reasonable amount of time of our flight departure. Wow, this is where all the people were hiding because they're all in there, and it's the only place where you can be in the airport without your mask on because you're having a bite to eat or some drinks.
Right. Yeah.
So I mean, obviously everybody twigged to this.
Yeah.
So that was a very relaxing experience. The server there, she was running around, and one of the common things that we saw repeatedly on this trip was that people were like, thank you so much for coming here. Thank you so much for stopping in and spending money. Thank you so much for coming to Mexico. You've helped me keep my job. Right. Like, this is really where it was at, and I thought, well, a lot of these people have been off work for 4, 5, 6 months. Is it going to be, destitute and a little bit like, come on, give me some more tips. Yeah. No, they were just grateful, like on a scale beyond measure. Right. So you really felt, like, okay, I did the right thing by coming here. Now, as far as protocols go, it was, you wore a mask when you were inside. Some of the hotels, it depends on their layout. If they're a little bit more open air, then it's not required. But if you go into a closed room, it's expected that you would wear a mask.
Yeah.
Elevators, obviously. Taxis, buses, Ubers, you must wear a mask. Well, this is the first time in 18 months that I hopped on a bus. You know why I felt comfortable? When we got into our shuttle to ride to the airport, and we had some beers on the ride, as one likes to do. Mm-hmm. And we said to the driver, like, do you mind, if we take the mask and have some drinks? He's like, no problem. He says, oh, I'm fully vaccinated. And we're like, oh yeah, we are too. Don't worry. And then he was explaining that all the people who work in the resorts have to be fully vaccinated. Yeah. And I didn't know that. So for me, again, another layer
That's
of
good.
protection.
That's good to know. Yeah,
it
would ease your, because if only some are and some aren't, then it makes it uncomfortable.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you just, then there's a risk factor, right?
Yep.
So this just eliminated all of that. The protocols were great. They did do room service was happening. We didn't order room service. We never order room service, really. They were doing housekeeping like normal.
Sherry, you're like, what?
I know.
That's the best part.
Yeah, me too.
I know. I promise, you guys, I'm going to Cabo next weekend.
Stop it.
And I promise I will order room service just so I can see what that's like. But, yes. It was, the protocols were all there. Pretty much only free for we were Cancun, Dream Riviera. They just changed the name from Dreams Port-Aventuras, and then we ended up at the Hyatt Ziva Riviera Cancun, which just recently opened, and
Christine,
it was great. Every resort was really fabulous. Yeah.
That whole piece that you just said, we had some technical difficulties, so I don't know if everybody heard what you just said.
Okay, no problem. So we were staying at 3 different properties. We were at Santos Cancun, Dreams 𝒄𝒧ⴡ or what it's now called ⴛ Riviera Maya, and the new Hyatt Ziva Riviera Cancun. And what was interesting is, I think, like I said, I think we were the only Canadians at those resorts. The people we spoke to, everybody was kind of distancing in the pool, but everyone gets chatty, you know. And what was surprising is every single person we spoke to, the first thing that comes up isn't necessarily where are you from, but more like, so which vaccine did you get? Everyone's kind of comparing and stuff like that. So it was interesting. Also, the thing that struck me is almost every person I spoke to, either they or the person they were traveling with works in healthcare.
Oh,
doctors,
really?
surgeons, nurses, administrative workers. And so to me, it struck me that, well, they obviously are smart enough and have access to information and educated people who can explain to them what the risk is. Right. And they decided this was safe enough for them to do. So,
and if anybody needs a holiday, they certainly do.
Exactly.
Yes,
so that's good to hear that. Yeah, they can maybe kind of get some downtime and
regroup.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So that's good to hear.
One of the things that has been mentioned to me is, what do you mean they were on vacation? Shouldn't they be working? Shouldn't they be at the hospitals? This was over a weekend. So they would come in on a Thursday or Friday, they would stay through till Sunday, and then they would fly home. So
they deserve just as much of a holiday as anybody else.
Oh, absolutely.
Actually, they deserve more.
Yeah.
They deserve a holiday a lot more than anybody else. So
yeah,
good for them.
Yeah. So we checked so for us Canadians, we need the PCR test, which is a little bit more expensive than the antigen test that the Americans required. But either one, at all three properties that we went to, all three were available at the hotel. You didn't have to walk down the street. You didn't have to take a taxi. They come to the hotel, you make your appointment, all good. And there was a cost for it. However, at Sandos, if you're staying there for 7 nights or more, and that's at any of their properties, they will include a PCR test for each guest, complimentary. So that's a pretty big savings, depending on where you're staying.
For sure. And this is coming home, right?
Coming home, exactly. No test required to enter Mexico.
That's right.
A little bit of extra paperwork on the way home. Of course, you've got the ArriveCan app, as well as the health affidavit. That's a new one. Basically, you're just filling out a form and saying, did you have a fever? Have you been sick? Have you been in with anybody who's been sick? Have you been told to isolate? Kind of the usual stuff, right?
Yeah.
So that was actually really, really easy. And then just keeping it all organized on your phone. What's interesting is comparing with friends of ours who, thank you, Doris, for the info, who just returned back from abroad. And she filled out the ArriveCan info on the website. So you don't need to have an app. You don't need to use the app. But when we were talking about it, I said, well, I had to take pictures of our passports and upload that into the ArriveCan app. She didn't do that. She was on a laptop. So she had to enter the passport number. So slightly different process. I would say if you're not super comfortable doing with your whole life being on your phone, possibly going onto the desktop application, onto the website. It sounds like it might be a little bit easier. Now, I did the app for coming back on this trip. When I come back from Cabo, I'm going to do the desktop version and just see how it compares.
Yeah, no, that's a good idea. Then we know. Yeah. Oh, good.
But yeah, it was absolutely fabulous. We had heard before I left, they had just opened up international travel into Canada. And so we were hearing about people waiting for hours to get off the plane and to get through security and customs and all this stuff. Guys, it was 40 minutes. Everywhere we went, it was 40 minutes. I don't know what this whole magical 40-minute thing is. But in Vancouver, no time to get through. Toronto to Cancun, no time to get through. When we went to go home, the guy dropped us off at the curb at Cancun airport. And 40 minutes later, we were at the gate and looking for a bar, So I mean, this is fantastic. And when we arrived in Cancun, it was also spectacularly fast for us to get our luggage. Now we were on WestJet. So we were on into Terminal 4, which is the new one. So it's a little bit less airplanes coming in. But still, it was super fast.
Nice.
Was your flight full on the way down?
Oh yeah, yeah, 100%. I mean, not it wasn't completely, but they were asking people to check their carry-on, which is a pretty good indicator that they're close to full capacity.
Yeah.
But the service was just like before COVID. They weren't holding
good.
back on food or drinks or anything like that. They
Good to
did
hear.
ask you to wear a mask when you weren't eating or drinking,
Sure.
but and everybody just did. It was just like, if this is the price of travel, I can do that, no
Yeah.
problem.
Sign me up.
Exactly. Yeah.
Exactly.
No, that's good. That's good. That's funny
Yeah.
because I had a guy who come back from he took the train from Stratford, which is only about 45 minutes from here, down to Toronto, and then Toronto on to Ottawa. And when he could take snacks and stuff like that on the train, but it's not like he was told that he had to take a bite, put the mask back on, chew your food, take your mask off, take a bite, put the mask back on, chew your food. I'm like, they didn't let you just sit there and eat your snack or your meal? And he goes, no. And he said they were actually quite grumpy about it, which I thought was super fascinating. So again, still, I think that there's so many different companies out there are still kind of not on the same page with protocols and stuff like that. So it'd be nice because that he was pretty upset. I kind of thought that's funny, but
well, it was, I think it depends a lot too on for example, on flights. I think it depends on the crew and what their comfort level is. And as we know, all airline staff must be fully vaccinated by October 30th, I believe it is. So then that won't be an issue, but perhaps they're slightly more immunocompromised or what have you. So on 3 of the flights, they were very specific to say, if you're not eating or drinking, please keep your mask on and please keep it over your nose.
Right.
I didn't see a lot of correction, but I was sitting at the front of the plane, so I don't got eyes in the back of my head. But I will say, on the flight from Toronto to Cancun, there was I could see the people in row 1, and the one fellow for probably 2 hours. I mean, he was drinking and eating and chatting, and he just wasn't wearing his mask, and that was kind of what most people were doing. So it just depends on your comfort level. And if you're vaccinated and you're wearing your mask, you've done as much as you can do.
Yep.
So
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, that's good. I'm very, very, very jealous.
I know, me too.
Extremely jealous.
Yeah.
But
and
I'm glad you had a good time.
Going away, and then you're going away again next week.
Yeah. So the next show that we do, October 22nd, I believe, will be live from Cabo.
Yep.
We won't be there, but we will be on the show with you.
Christine will be live. Yes.
Yeah. Well, it won't be this background. This is the first hotel that I'll be staying at. But it'll be, hopefully we'll see some dolphins in the background. So that'd be really cool, or whales even.
Whales, yeah.
But I will say, you guys, I was, like I said, I was slightly apprehensive before I went on the trip, and I wasn't sure what it was going to be like. We had booked this trip to Cabo ahead of time, and it's full cancellation, 100% cancelable. So I knew in the back of my head, if I wasn't comfortable on this trip, no problem at all. I'd already decided I'm prepared to give away that gift. I'm prepared to cancel that trip. Yeah. And by day 2, I was like, oh, now we get to go to Cabo too. Yay.
That is awesome to hear.
One thing that did throw me a little bit is, as I just check my notes here, is in Toronto Airport in the past, you've always had to collect your bags. And I know that they were working on changing this before COVID hit. But specifically with WestJet, specifically on a Canadian connector, I don't know if this is a thing for Air Canada or other destinations, but in our situation, we landed in Toronto Airport. We gathered by the carousel before we went through customs, because in the past, you've always had to get your bags before you go through. And if you've got stuff in there, then they can check it or whatever. Yeah. Anyways, the WestJet woman was near there, the employee, and she kind of yelled over to a couple of people because it was waiting. Like, nothing's happening. What's going on? Well, this is only for people who were, their final destination was Toronto. That's the only people that were getting their bags there. Everything else was checked through to final destination. So she's yelling, and I kid you not, hey, everybody, no dog, no gun, carry on. And we're like, what? First of all, when in this past century
have you been able to carry a firearm?
Gun in an airport. I mean, like I was just waiting, like, and I repeated what she said, and I was waiting for someone to like tackle me.
Gun.
These are just words that you don't use in an airport. But I thought that was kind of funny. But yes, if you are flying home via a Canadian airport, your bags are probably going to go right through. So just double check though. Double check
Cool.
just to make sure you don't leave your bags behind.
Yeah, no, that's
interesting,
good.
but that's
Awesome.
good.
Yeah,
good stuff. Tammy, we have some more international national days.
National days. Yeah, we had October 1st was International Coffee Day and World
that one.
Sake Day. October 3rd is World Smoothie Day. October 4th, my favorite day, was Vodka Day and Taco Day. Like how
Nice.
can't get a better day than that. And between October 5th and October 9th is Cosmo Week. And October 7th is Frappa Day. So
Frap
that's
Day.
it for international days.
but of course
Awesome.
we are in October, so the whole month is Oktoberfest, right?
Is that too?
Oktoberfest
Oktoberfest,
and
yes.
Pumpkin spice latte month.
I saw they had a pumpkin spice Bailey's at the liquor store the other day.
Oh,
I didn't buy it because I don't like it, but
yeah, I'm not a big fan.
I
of
did see it.
pumpkin
I'm like,
spice.
oh, that's going to be off the shelf soon.
Yeah, for sure.
But
And then and then we've got this weekend as Thanksgiving weekend. So.
happy Thanksgiving. Yeah, so again,
Turkey Day.
October 22nd, we will be live with Christine in Cabo. We're so excited about that. I can't
Me
wait.
too.
Oh, I'm jealous. Anyway, I think that's it for the show today. If you liked the show, please give us a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to our Facebook page and our YouTube channel. Tammy? What's our
Facebook.com/group/A New View on Travel.
I love it. Anyway, thanks for joining us today and can't wait to see you guys in a few weeks to talk to Christine and share more new views on travel.
Yay.
Bye.
Have a good weekend. Long weekend.
Have a good weekend. Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.